Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for another Journaling on a Budget video. Today's is a really simple video but can save you a lot of money. I've seen everybody using their tear rulers, and a long time ago in my Build Your Stash and Craft series, I made a tear ruler because I had some metal ones, but they're kind of expensive, and so we made our own, and we made it out of just a piece of acetate packaging, and we just used our scissors and we just hacked at the edges to get a nice tear. We made some actual shaped ones. This is another tear one, and then I would color them with black just so that I didn't lose them when I set them down somewhere. So, and this is what I've always used, and the way that I use them is I put them on my paper, and then I take a ruler and I use the ruler to hold it down because it's not real sturdy. And then just go ahead and tear along the edge, and you have your torn paper without having to do it yourself, and you get a much straighter line. So there we go. We've got a nice torn edge. So I was watching, let me see, what was her name? It's Junk Journals with Gina B. And she saw someone else do it, but she used just the cheap plastic rulers that we got at the Dollar Tree. They came in a 3-pack, and I use them with my razor knife, and it winds up taking off the actual marks for your numbers. So this one right here, if you can see, let's see if you can see, has no marks right there by between the 5, the 6, the 7. All of these little tiny tick marks like this are all gone because when I used my knife on there, for some reason that kind of took them off, even though I didn't like come back that far or whatever. So anyways, I have this ruler that isn't any good, and I saw her do it with a ruler and thought, why didn't I think of that? So, and the way that she did it is a cheap plastic ruler. You can get these rulers 3 for $1 at the Dollar Tree. I've already done this side, and this side I did very, very small little marks on it, and you can do it however you want, as far as small marks, small dents I guess you might say, or big dents. But you just take a pair our jewelry pliers that we have, any kind of little pliers, and you just pinch hard and then just kind of twist. Be careful that you don't pop it into your eyes. Now with this one I'm going to make kind of a little bit bigger dents in it, maybe you might say, so that it's a little bit different than the other side. But you can just go ahead, and if you want a big dent like that there, you're just not going to go right next to the part before it. You're going to go, this ends right here, it ends right there, and so I'm going to go up a little bit, just kind of skip a little bit of a space, and then just squeeze really hard and just kind of go back and forth, and that leaves you with a little bit of a space between them. I got a little piece there that's not coming off. Okay, and literally it's just that quick and that easy to just go through. And like I said, be careful that you don't pop these into your eyes. Wear some safety glasses or something to cover your eyes, and don't let them go flying where they could hurt someone else. But you just keep right on going, and I'll just keep doing this till we get about halfway done, and then we'll see what it looks like with the bigger bumps in it. And then I'll show you the little bump side too. But this is going to be a quick video because this is all there is to it. But it's just so effective. And I think that I heard someone say that they had one of these in their Amazon, look it up on my Amazon thing, and I think they said they were $10. Now I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that is what they said. And you don't need them to be perfectly even, because then it's not really going to look like a tear. Now if you want a pattern, you could use your Dremel, which we did get a Dremel in our Build Your Stash series, and you could use your Dremel and use one of the little sanding tools and just sand in every so many, you've got your little tick marks on there, so you could do it every 1/4 of an inch. You could just go in or something like that, so that you have uniform dents. But for me, if it's supposed to look like a tear, then, you know, I want it to be kind of uneven and, you know, just raggedy and jaggedy. So we'll just go a little bit further. It's almost a little bit addicting too. It's kind of fun to do. But just going to do this. All right, we'll stop right here. This will be my last one. There we go. Okay, so now we have a much more jagged edge, like that. And so we'll see what this looks like. This is a piece of cardstock. I'm trying to figure out how I want to do it. Okay, I will start right there where I stopped my... And then you just, whenever you rip with the tear ruler, grab your paper and pull on an angle down your tear ruler. Now, because these are bigger bumps, you have to pull a little bit harder. The smaller the bumps, the less, you don't have to pull as hard. We're just going to stop right there and see that that is what that looks like. Now, it does leave you a little bit of a lip kind of on here, and you can just flatten that back out. So, and so that's what it looks like with the really raggedy edge. And then the other side. Let's get all of this. And see, because these are much smaller little bumps, you can rip it faster. And so that looks like this. Now, it did separate on the bottom of my cardstock there a little bit. And we'll do both of them with regular paper. I have to rip with this hand, so I have to figure out how to do it when I only have half of a ruler done. Again, just kind of add an angle towards your ruler. And that's the look that you get. And then the other side. So we've got a couple of different looks there. And another thing is, let me get this off of here. So let's say that I want to rip this, and I only want to rip this much off right here. I want to rip it right there. Okay, when you take your ruler and you put it on there and you're trying to rip just a tiny bit, it's harder to rip. And a lot of times you wind up ripping off like there. It accidentally ripped off, and I did not do that on purpose. The smaller it gets, the harder it is. When you only have to rip a tiny, tiny bit like that, this is the little tiny bit that we want to rip. Instead of ripping this way and grabbing that teeny tiny piece, put your ruler on the smallest side, like that. And then the only thing you have to remember is as you rip, you need to move your hand to make sure that you have good pressure in that spot so that it doesn't slide out, because there's such a little bit there. But you can rip little teeny tiny bits much easier when you put the smallest part underneath your ruler. And now we have this nice little torn spot, but this may not be what we were going for. We may have wanted this, but we only wanted to rip that tiny bit off the edge. And the smaller that you're trying to rip it, you know, it's hard to get a hold of to get it started. And once you get it started, see, that one ripped off, and I did not do it on purpose. And now I'm having a hard time even getting a hold of it. And then it ripped again. Okay, so now let's put it the other way and put it the same distance. That's just a little tiny bit. I'm going to hold my ruler down really hard and rip it like this. And I'm going to move my hand as I go. But we're getting it. We're not having a problem. It's not super hard. Now this right here, this pulled out from underneath my ruler, and you know why? Because I had a finger here and a finger here, and I wasn't holding in that spot. So I'm going to put that back there. I'm going to move my hand down. Remember to move your hand down as you go. And there you go. Now we've got that all ripped off. We ripped off this little teeny tiny piece. So that's how you do it. Remember, always the ruler goes, especially when you have a small piece, the ruler goes on the small side, you rip the large side, even if it's a really wide piece of paper. So anyways, there we go. There is a tear ruler, and it cost 3 for $1, so 33 1/3 cents for a tear ruler. You get 2 sides to each ruler, and you are going to want to buy the cheap rulers at the Dollar Tree because they will snap off much easier than if you get a really heavy plastic ruler. So you could also do it with a wooden ruler and your Dremel, and use your Dremel to make the nicks in the wooden ruler with one of the little sanding drums or something like that. So anyways, this is what I wanted to show you today because they come in really handy. I love them when I'm trying to rip something out of books and magazines and I don't want that cut edge. And like I said, I think that I like these larger nicks a little bit better than the really super fine ones. But sometimes I want it to be, I want that ripped edge. I don't want a straight cut, but I like this straightness. I mean, there's not too much jaggediness to it. And then most of the time, I really do like the more jaggy side. So, but thank you very much for watching. If you made these and you really like using them, but you always have to get your ruler out to hold it down, if you got the plastic ruler, just take that ruler you're using to hold it down and make your own tear ruler for a very cheap amount of money, and you can make different sizes. So, with 3 of them, you could have 6 different tears for $1. So, and a little bit of time, and it's fun doing. So, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.